Hello everybody, it's Gone Turbo here, and this is Skyrim Special Edition exclusively on the Xbox One. In this video, I'd like to share with you my March 2018 load order. My last load order video like this was back in November, December 2017, and since then, some really great mods have come out that I have added to my load order to, as always, continue to pursue an amazing looking, beautiful Skyrim game. That has always been my main objective, is to find mods and to create a load order that makes a amazing looking Skyrim game. Basically what I try to do is push the Xbox One to its maximum and back off just a little bit short of significant performance issues. Another thing that I wanted to share before we get into the load order is listening to some of the feedback from some of you regarding other videos and load order videos, is that if ever I post a load order video, I'm going to show you what it looks like. Obviously, if you want to spend a lot of time creating a similar load order, you're going to want to see what you're getting into by having an example. So what you're seeing here is just an example of what the game will look like with this load order. And another thing that I will commit to making sure that I do is that if I do a video on a single mod, kind of like a review or just a gameplay video, I will always have any updated load order in the description. So I probably about 90% have the description or the load order in the description, and other times not so much. So I'll make sure I'm consistent with that. Anyway, just again, first wanted to start with some gameplay of what this load order will look like. As I go through this load order today, there's going to be a few things that I will talk about that will give you some options. Overall, this load order is very performance friendly. Again, I do try to push the Xbox One to its limits, and although there will be, in some cases, a little bit of frame rate drop, overall, I don't get crashes with this particular load order. I use the Dropbox load order document, and there's always, whenever I have my load order in the description, there's always a link to that in my description. If you're new to modding, I would suggest looking at that document, reading the first few pages, as it gives you some good guidance and suggestions on modding Skyrim. And then from there, categorize and sort your mods according to that document and how they have things listed. It has worked wonderfully for me, and I think like I said, I really push this modded game, to sometimes the point of breaking, and I think this load order has served me well. All in the name of wanting to find the most beautiful Skyrim game that we can create with mods. So, as we head on over to Riverwood here, I want to, I'll pause and we'll get into the load order. We'll just kind of pull up right over here. All right, so let's take a look at the load order. Okay, so here we are at the top of the load order. As you can see, right now I have a total of 4.43 gigabytes of space used out of 5. I also have, a little over 570 megabytes of free space. I have just about covered every object in the game for retexture. Again, another aim of mine is to try to cover every single object, every single thing in the game for a retextured, better look. There are lots of different kinds of mods that retexture all kinds of different things. But in this load order, I have personally tried to look for textures that are pleasing to the eye, that might be more natural looking, and mods that might cover a lot of different things at a lower cost to storage space. Another thing I have to mention is that one thing that I recently did, and I do every once in a great while, is I go into my Xbox settings and I clear my reserve space. Now what that will do is that will completely wipe out this load order. You have to go back in and re-download all of your mods. But what it does is it kind of just cleans everything out. Sometimes if you have some of that ghost save space issue where you might have a few megabytes left of free space, you go to download a 50 megabyte size mod, it will say not enough memory to download. That has to do with ghost save space issues. I don't fully understand that piece of it, but that's just a reality. So if you go in and clear your reserve space and just start fresh, it will allow you to maximize your storage space again. So that's one thing that I've recently done. So here we are at the top of the load order, and we have the unofficial Skyrim Special Edition patch. I do use this. It just fixes a lot of bugs that the original game did not do. I do use the graphics pack, and there have been a lot of changes to this over the course of the months, if you will, since my last video. It is now, at this point, a kind of a yellowy orange look to the icon. It's 788 megabytes. You need the graphics pack extra, which is contains the files for the core files for the graphics pack, so you do need this, which is another 143 megabytes. This will change so many things to the game. It will change architecture, it will change some dungeons, and all kinds of different objects in the game. Now here in my load order, I have enhanced lights and effects. I do use this mod, I love it, and I have it up here for a particular reason. The Dropbox load order suggests further down in the load order, but I have it here for a particular reason that we'll just see in just a moment. Before I do that, I use Graphics Pack Static Mesh Improvement Mod, which will add some additional meshes and textures to objects. There are other static mesh mods that exist. There's one that is kind of the original one that is about a gigabyte in size. You can use that by also downloading a graphics pack patch if that's something that you want to use as well. And this add-on enhanced piece of the graphics pack adds some other clutter textures to your game. They don't really specifically say what that is other than ash piles and death bells. Now, it says here that you should put some of these mods in a particular order, and it's always good to, for the most part, follow what the mod author says in terms of where to put things in the load order. So you can see here in the description that it suggests to have the graphics pack extra, add-on static mesh, and then the add-on enhanced in this order. However, because I'm using enhanced lights and effects, there's a patch here that allows ELFX and the graphics pack static mesh to work well together. So what this says is that to use the ELFX main file first, the add-on static mesh performance second, and then this patch right here. So you can see above that there's the ELFX, the static mesh, and then this below. So I tried to combine those two suggestions in a way to make supposedly these all work well. So that's what I did there. All right, moving on down a little bit further. I have Divine Texture Pack furniture and rugs. I was using the Divine Static Mesh mod because I love the fact that this improves the furniture and the rugs. I can't find any other mod that improves the rugs and carpets in the game. And this mod does that. Instead of using the static mesh version, which includes the furniture and rugs, because I'm using the graphics pack static mesh, I decided to put this here and use the 75 megabytes of storage space to better a lot of the furniture and rugs in the game. And there is a marked difference. If you take this mod out of this load order, the bookcases, chairs, furniture will be less texture quality. It will look worse. The display cases are improved and are very, very nice. And again, the rugs change pretty significantly, but have a better quality texture to them. So I definitely highly suggest the Divine Texture Pack furniture and rugs. All right, going further down as we get into some other texture overhauls. Whiterun Stonewalls, very, very happy that this mod came out. The graphics pack does improve, make some improvements to buildings in towns and in villages, some of the major holds and cities. But I didn't like the way that it made Whiterun look with the some of the Osmodeus pieces to that mod, especially Whiterun. But this is beautiful. I have a separate video on this. I would encourage you to check it out. It looks really, really great. There is another mod that came out recently that is Whiterun interior stone walls and roads. Looks great. I felt that the stone walls were a little bit too very, very light gray. Just didn't look natural. Just didn't look like it fit in very well with the environment. But since then, there seems to be an update to the roads without that mod. So I would suggest this. All right, this is an important part here as well. I have a Mines mod by T4GTR34UM3R, Caves by the same mod author, and Vivid Landscapes, Tombs, and Ruins. Now what these three things do is obviously increase mine textures, cave textures, and the cave texture here looks beautiful, and Tombs and Ruins. Now T4GT had a Tombs and Ruins mod that I can't seem to find as a standalone, so I'm trying out this one here. It definitely improves the quality texture to Tombs and Ruins. You have to check it out if you like the way it looks. It's a very unique and different look to Tombs and Ruins, but one that is worth checking out. We're going to come back to this because this is very important, but Whiterun, DawnStar, and Markarth, these small mods here just add some things to the towns to make them a little bit more immersive. You know, there's extra walls, there's clutter, fencing, kinds of things. There's an extra dock, I think, in DawnStar. Just some things that are added to these cities to make them a little more look like they're alive. All right, here in the load order is where we're going to put our landscape overhauls. The two most popular ones at this point are Skyland and Rustic Lands. I've been a Skyland fan for forever, and I still love Skyland. I've been playing with Rustic Lands, and I love it very much. It's a little bit more colorful. The textures look fantastic, and it's pretty natural looking. I would say not as natural looking as Skyland, but still very, very, very nice. So I wanted to try that. I've been playing with it, and I really do like it. The one difference between this and Skyland, if you were to look at Skyland Balanced, Skyland 1K, or the full Skyland mod, that Skyland mod will give a retexture to things like mines and caves and tombs and ruins. Also snow, and just rocks, mountain rocks, things like that. So if you prefer Skyland, then just make sure that, you know, if you are adding additional things like mines and caves and rocks and mountains and snow, you're going to be doubling up on mods that might be overwriting each other and might not even show up in your game because they're being overwritten. So because Rustic Lands doesn't necessarily cover caves and ruins and mines and things like that, that's why I have these here. I hope that makes sense. So just if you're using Skyland, you might not need some of these other ones. Skyland towns and villages, however, increase the wood and some of the interiors to inns in those types of structures. So farmhouses, you know, little village houses will be improved greatly with Skyland towns and villages. All right, those are some of the major texture overhauls that are going to completely change the look of your game. And I would say with this load order, as you saw in some of that video, the world looks more detailed. It looks more alive and more detailed. I mean, there's a lot of little pebbles. There's a lot of little improvements to structures and details and pretty much everything. But things just look a lot more detailed. Okay, I have a couple of sound improvement mods, Immersive Sounds, Reverb and Ambiance Overhaul. I would highly suggest using these. We're now getting into weather mods. All kinds of weather mods. I have lots of videos on weather mods. I still continue to use True Storms, Vivid Weather's, the French version, and the patch to make these two work together. I have tried Vivid Weather's Definitive Edition with the new patch that brings the Vivid Weather Special Edition coloring and lighting back to what this particular mod looks like. It could be me, but I don't feel it's exactly the same as this mod here. I love this mod. I love Vivid Weathers. I appreciate the work that has been done to make improvements to this mod with the Definitive Edition, but to my eye, I think this still looks better than the Definitive Edition with the patch. So I continue to keep this in my load order. There's other weather mods that are smaller in size that I've reviewed that would go here if you prefer those weather mods instead. But in terms of a beautiful look to your game, I keep coming back to this as the weather mod that will greatly improve the quality and the look to your game. I do use Obsidian Mountain Fog. Adds fog, a significant amount of fog to mountains. Here we have some more of where we would put player homes. I have the Breezehome TNF Hearthfire mod. I have a separate video on this one. This is one that I want to be reviewing at some point as well. Lord of the Rings locations. Okay, this section here is very significant. This is where we have our foliage mods, if you will. This is going to take a little bit of explaining. You can see I have Project Hippie here that is not active, so I don't have the little check box next to it. That means it's not currently showing up in my load order. I love Project Hippie. It went away for a while, but it is now back. And I would suggest that you use Project Hippie if the mods that I'm about to talk about are not something that you would like to use. But let me go through what I have active right now. Project Hippie will add trees to a lot of towns and cities, and that can populate those areas. Well, it does populate those areas with a lot of trees, which can, in some cases, affect your performance. In some cases, with other mods, overlap with trees, and I've never had a performance issue problem with this, but I've been trying some of these different combinations of mods below that I think are a nice approach to adding some trees and foliage to your game. So, Trees in Cities is a mod that I am trying. This is by Stupid Dunmer, and I really like the amount of trees this adds to Whiterun, Riften, Markarth, Solitude, Windhelm. It's not too much. It's not as much as Project Hippie, but it adds a nice amount. That could help with some performance because I have some other mods here that I am utilizing as well, such as Divine Forests. Now, up until recently, you couldn't use this without Divine Cities, I believe, but now you can use this as a standalone. So thank you, Tarshana, for doing that. This will add trees throughout Skyrim. I use Gardens of Whiterun for Whiterun. This adds a lot of things to Whiterun in terms of flowers and benches and insects. And this with Project Hippie causes my Whiterun to slow down pretty significantly. And I also have the Emran's Whiterun mod as well. So that's why I have this deactivated and am trying these with this as well. It just makes Whiterun look absolutely beautiful, and still adds trees to cities and towns. I also have in my load order the Great Forest of Whiterun. This completely populates Whiterun Hold with trees, and I've been wanting to kind of get back into a kind of a campfire survival character and explore the forests of Whiterun in a kind of a hey, let's camp out kind of style. But this is a nice little mod to have if you want to do some more forest exploration. Lush Overhaul is also a mod that I recommend that just makes plants and trees more lush. Now, here's another significant part of why I don't have Project Hippie activated. Veydosebrom is a grass mod that is my absolute favorite. I actually prefer this over verdant grasses. This will, like I talked about, this load order bring a lot of detail to the game. This will greatly increase the quality look to your game. However, it can be it can have a little bit of a hit on performance for sure, especially in forested areas with all of these mods present. Great Forest of Whiterun, Lush Overhaul, Divine Forest, we're adding more trees to more areas. Not so much inside Whiterun. So, again, in terms of the best looking game, in my opinion, this is the mod to have. However, if you're finding that you don't like to have some of the frame rate drops in some of the dense areas, then dense grass is my second choice. I have tested this where I have played in certain areas with Veydosebrom where there's a little bit of frame rate drop, switched it back out to dense grass, and do not have the frame rate loss that I do with Veydosebrom. So I've always debated which one to use, but this one, in my opinion, looks a lot better. But I wanted to just reference my dense grass mod here that is not active right now. So those are the vegetation mod section of my load order. Landscape fixes for grass mod just tidies up some areas where grass shouldn't be. Another thing that I don't have anymore is an LOD, a level of detail mod. There's one that I've had in my load order for the longest time that improves the far distant look to the game, but the trees were a brighter green in color, and without that mod, the trees just look consistent across your viewing screen. We can take a look at that a little bit more in a minute. Other mods in my load order are more immersive in nature. I don't have a lot of funky different mods when it comes to abilities and characters. I have some battle improvement mods, immersive mods that are around gear, so visible favored gear, tavern idols, which gives different poses to characters when you are in an inn or something. Immersive citizens. Another texture mod, Splendor Dragon Variants, increases the number of the way your dragons look in terms of color and visual diversity. Rich Merchants of Skyrim, Expensive Skyrim, I think just balances the game with items to be able to purchase and buy and trade, so you're not struggling to buy and sell things. Realistic conversations, so you see just some more immersive kinds of mods. Dragon Shout tweaks. This allows some of your shouts to either cool down faster, or as one's being used, you be able to use another one as well. All kinds of different things to your shouts. Amazing follower tweaks. If you have followers, then this is a must-have. You'll be able to do more things with your followers with this mod. Alright, some more texture mods in this section here. This is Far Better Sun. I would only use this mod if you're using Vivid Weathers. If you're not using Vivid Weathers, then do not use Far Better Sun, because it will just blast your screen with sunbeams from corner to corner, and it does not work well with other weather mods. Only Vivid Weathers, in my opinion. Northfire's Photoreal Mountains. This, of all the mountain mods and rock mods, this is my favorite. It looks great. It's bigger in size, but it fits in naturally with this load order and the objects in the game. I do try to look for things like, so if a mod comes out and the coloring just doesn't seem to fit in a natural way with the world, then I don't use it. So if all of the rocks in Skyrim are, let's say, really dark black almost, but there's nothing else in Skyrim that is dark black, or it just does not look right, or it's too bright, just doesn't look like it fits, then I won't use it. But this one here looks great. It's photorealistic, and just fits naturally with the world. So again, you might like this. If you're using Skyland, you might like this more than what Skyland produces for a rock texture. But you would be, overwriting that and using up some more megabytes. But because I'm using Rustic to increase the look of rocks, then this is the mod that I suggest. Same goes for snow. Skyland will produce a nice snow texture that I really like. Since Rustic Lands, I don't prefer the snow texture that it creates. I have chosen to go back to Nordic Snow, and I really like the way this texture looks. Changes NPC clothes, a mod I've had forever in my load order. Increases the look of textures to clothes, but also gives them a more elaborate look. My blood textures here, more blood and gore, enhanced blood textures, and enhanced blood texture darker. I highly recommend this mod, these three mods here in this order. Design in the Nords is a banner replacement mod that adds banners and gives them a better look. I think this is a very lore-friendly banner replacer for the game. Okay, so for display enhancements, this is a must-have mod no matter what your load order is, in my opinion. I have many weather videos, videos on this mod, and with this particular load order, with Vivid Weathers, definitely an increase in contrast one time, maybe two, if you prefer that. An increase in brightness just a little bit. And for tint, I would recommend 2 red tint increases and 1 blue tint increases. Dynamically disable eye adaptation and bloom. I would recommend enabling the eye adaptation, enabling that, and disabling bloom. I have Fire HD, Divine Embers HD, which obviously increases the texture of fire and embers. Thundering Shouts just changes the audio of your shouts to be a little bit of a lower pitch. Quieter Dungeons and Caves, I recommend. So this mod basically says that if you are in a cave in real life, you're not going to hear really a lot of stuff. The vanilla game, just adds these little, these little ambient noises that, you wouldn't maybe necessarily hear in real life. If you try this mod, it's really neat. If you're in a cave or a dungeon, to have kind of this real, almost absolute silent feel makes things more, anticipating something's going to kind of happen. So give it a try. It's really cool. Dragon Remains. After you kill a dragon, you won't get bones. You'll just get the dragon remains laying down there. Sheogorath's cheat menu, I simply just use for more of changing weathers to test things and being able to toggle the collision if I take a screenshot and need a higher or lower kind of view. So not necessarily something you need to have for a great looking game whatsoever. Font overhauls. There's many different kinds of font overhauls that exist out there. This is just one that I use. Font overhaul, natural, I don't know, it's a natural typeface, I believe. When it comes to body textures and replacers, I don't have a lot of those kinds of mods. There's so many out there. I don't base my game on you know, male or female beauty mods and all those kinds of different things, although there are so many great mods out there that can add amazing looking beautiful characters. The one I recommend if you're just looking for a simple female body replacer is the RUNP texture body replacer, also known as Maidens of Skyrim. A little bit back, I know it says there in the description, Maidens of Skyrim. Really great looking mod. Completely changes the mesh of the body, so the way it looks, but also the skin, the face textures as well. Looks really good. AOF Believable Hair, I think, is a amazing little mod for 2 megabytes in size that brings a little bit more of a natural look to your character's hair. And I've tried a whole bunch of different of these small little hair improvement mods, and this one I think is the best looking. Girly animation, Drugger Horrific Textures. This is something that increases the look of your druggers. We get into some other retexture mods. Sleeving Skyrim is one that I have in my load order. Just add sleeves to your characters. Old Kingdom Armor Overhaul is a must-have. This greatly improves the look to your armors in the game through and through. UNP, Armor Refitted. If you're using this mod here, then this mod will make sure that your armors and clothing fit your character. If not, you will have clipping and body parts that are busting out through the seams. Black and Gold Elven Armor. I'm not a fan of the coloring that the vanilla armor or what the Old Kingdom armor makes for the Elven armor. It's just too yellow, and this adds a little bit of a neat look, almost like an ebony armor look to that Elven armor. Okay, here we have some weapon mods that I prefer. Just adds a variety of weapons to the game. Additional lore weapons, heavy armor, new weapons, Skyrim SC expanded Skyrim weapons mod, and my favorite Lord of the Rings weapons. There might be some overwriting that happens with these mods. I don't know exactly what those are, but I put Lord of the Rings at the bottom, so there's absolutely no overwriting. But this is just my suggestion with these weapons mods here. That being said, Old Kingdom Weapon Overhaul, which increases the texture and quality of weapons in the game. So it will make your weapons look drop dead gorgeous. This mod here probably should be up a little bit higher. This is the Old Kingdom Sleeving Skyrim patch, so I would probably drag this to under Old Kingdom Armor Overhaul. This makes sure that these two work together. That patch right there. A couple other immersive mods: wearable lanterns, which is neat. You can carry around a lantern and instead of a torch, keep it fueled up and be able to see in the dark. Open-faced guard helmets just gives your guard helmets be able to see their faces. A little personal touch. ELFX no player homes because I use ELFX. ELFX lights and ELFX exteriors. This adds just a little bit of mood lighting to Skyrim, so you'll see different things like placements of lights in certain areas. It also gives exterior windows the look that's people or there are things inside, so there might be a little more of a light look, a look that there's light inside, and even from a distance you'll be able to see the town or village lit up a little bit more when it comes to the lights inside windows being lit up. Some other things there as well. Alternate start I recommend. Gives your character at the start of the game, you can skip the whole coming down the path in the cart and having to go through the whole Helgen sequence. You have different options after you create a character to start in different parts of the world. Alright, some more immersive mods here. Creatures in food realistic. This makes adjustments to creatures and food and ingredients. Different recipes. This is here. Actually, let me go back up. Oh yeah, this also allows if you kill a deer to be able to harvest all of the ingredients, and that's I think why I have that mod there. Realistic wildlife behavior. This is a great mod. So instead of everything attacking you in Skyrim, creatures will behave a little more realistic. So wolves aren't going to attack you on sight, or crabs, because literally in the real world that's not going to happen unless you provoke them in the game. So things will be less hostile. You can decide what you want to hunt. Faster horses, pretty simple. Just makes the horses a little bit faster. I like food as a food improvement mod that I use to when it comes to cooking things that I hunt. So it will allow certain meats to improve health or restore health and stamina and things like that. And I use this more than I use finding health potions and that kind of thing. The mods in this section here are more like miscellaneous mods. Dynamic dungeon loot gives you a little more variety, especially at the end of a long dungeon crawl. You get to that treasure box at the end. You get a little bit more surprise when you get to the end. No more lazy jarls. They'll actually sit in their chairs and not look lazy when you go to see a jarl. Venison. Now this mod I have in here because the graphics pack Venison, I did not like the look of it. This mod was created because maybe other people didn't like the look of it as well. So this will give you that original vanilla texture. Bounty perks is cool. When you complete a bounty quest, you'll actually be able to get a perk point, which is neat. TLS LOD blur. This is a ring that you can get in Riverwood that you can activate it to blur the background, the far distance of your display. And this is helpful only really if you're taking screenshots. Kind of neat. Dot crosshair. This is simply as a dot as your crosshair. I like it. I'm not sure what this mod was, but it seems to be no longer available. I'm not sure what that was. Oh well. Dead NPC cleaner. So basically if you kill something and you set it on fire, it will burn and then disappear. So you don't have dead NPCs in one spot for a long period of time, or even an animal, or even a dragon. You can actually burn a dragon and it will disappear, so it's not there for a long period of time. Ring of Power is more of a Lord of the Rings mod that I haven't even this is one of those things where you find a journal and you can travel around unraveling the mystery of the Ring of Power. Haven't started this kind of quest thing yet. Alright, getting towards the bottom here. Lanterns and Candles is a new mod that you can see is not active because I haven't tried it yet. But this seems to allow you to craft light sources and place them in different places in the world. Always wanted to be able to do that in this game. Just haven't had a chance to activate and try this mod out quite yet. Alright, I do have Rustic Weather Presets in my load order. I have a series of videos where I utilize this and talk about weathers. You can use this no matter what weather mod you have, because it simply acts kind of like Display Enhancements does and changes the brightness or saturation to your game. So I typically find that the harsh setting with this mod seems to be a good look to no matter what weather mod that you use. So just a little extra thing there. Tweaked arrows and bolts, faster bows, just some tweaks to archery. At the very bottom of the load order, I have Realistic Water 2. I highly recommend this mod for a beautiful looking game, and it's suggested to put this at the bottom of the load order and I pretty much try to keep this as low as possible. This reduces the any lines or seams that you can see in the water. So if you have this mod and it's higher up in the load order and you're seeing seams and lines in the water, move it down towards the bottom. This is a level of detail fix, which kind of makes the foreground, midground, and background water look pretty relatively even. Color patches remover at the very bottom. And finally, at the very bottom, fix restore vanilla settings, which is recommended to do every once in a while as a way to kind of clean things up in the game. So, ladies and gents, that is my March 2018 load order, and just wanted to take a little bit more time to show you some of this game. As you can see, that crab is not attacking me because of that realistic animal fix. But you can see, as I talked about how much more detailed this load order looks with Veydosebrom grass, Rustic Lands, again, all of these texture mods for farmhouses, Lush Overhaul with trees. The world looks more, it just looks more rich in texture and in a more natural kind of way. Anything and everything just about that you see is overhauled with texture. And I am running this on the original Xbox, not Xbox One X, not the Xbox One S. This is just the original game, or the original Xbox. So again, that level of detail, you can see the trees in the far background are the same coloring as the foreground trees. Some of the level of detail mods that are out there significantly change the color of trees. This is a relatively new character, so I haven't, as you can see, explored some of these places. But just because I haven't been traveling and able to look at some other lands, we'll head to this location here just to get another sense of scenery. All right, let's advance a little bit of time here. Hopefully we won't get caught in any sort of storm, just so we can see. All right. Anyway, that little mod for the Lord of the Rings locations is just a totally different area where you can explore. We'll get to that someday. So here we are, just in a different part of the world. That this character, this is Grey Wolf. You can see the Old Kingdom armor coming into play here. Just absolutely beautiful. Weapons and armor improvements. So you can see here the grass, the ground, the texture. Very detailed, very nice looking. Vivid weathers, you know, that far better sun mod looks great here. Other weather mods, it's going to be incredibly bright. Let's, for fun, try textures. There we go with some. Looks like we got an enemy here. What's going on? Oh, really? Well, that takes care of that. My level 3 character just got destroyed. Anyway, thank you so much for watching my March 2018 load order video. I hope that you find some of this helpful. Feel free to ask a question, leave a comment. Check out my account on Instagram for some other peeks at what I'm able to do with this load order and some of the looks I'm able to get. And please like and subscribe. Thanks so much for your support, and I'll talk to you again soon.